Many designs call for placing text along a path, so let's explore how that's done inside of Illustrator. And I want to point out that one of the reasons why we first explored the different types of text inside of Illustrator, for example, point text and area text, is because of the way that path text works inside of Illustrator. So I'm going to start off just by creating a regular plain blank document. Maybe I'll make this one be landscape instead of portrait. And what I'm going to start off by doing is just create a path first. I'm going to use my pen tool here. Same way we did before. I'll just click and drag. Let's say we want to create some kind of a curved path. Click and drag. And now I have this path that I've created. I'm now going to go take my type tool that's right here and click on it. I just want to let you know, if you click and you hold your mouse button down, there is something here called the Type on a Path tool. But I'm not going to actually choose that tool. I just want to show you there's a keyboard shortcut that I could use to access text on a path, but just by using the type tool itself. So I have my type tool selected. As I move over this path itself, notice that as soon as I kind of touch that open path, Illustrator automatically identifies the fact that it's a path and will let me put the text directly on a path that way. So I'm just going to click right about over here. And I'll get a blinking cursor. And now I can start putting type on here. So let's say I do surfing is fun! Exclamation point. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my text. I'm going to scale that text to be a little bit bigger. By the way, instead of having to go to the menu over here and change the font size, I'll use a keyboard shortcut. I'm going to hold down the Command, Shift, and greater than sign. It's actually the period, but I like to look at it as the greater than sign because it's easier. That means that I'm making my type bigger. If you're on a Windows computer, it'll be Control Shift and then the greater than sign. And each time you tap that key, it enlarges your text 2 points at a time. Just to let you know, if you want to make your text smaller, again, the same keyboard shortcut, Command Shift or Control Shift, and then use the less than sign or the comma on your keyboard, and that goes ahead and makes your text size smaller 2 points at a time. So I'm just going to make it a little bit bigger so that we can see the text here. And let's explore exactly what text on a path really is. I'm going to switch over to my direct selection tool. And you'll note that there are these interesting little user interface elements that now appear on this particular path. Now the path itself, by the way, has lost its appearance. Whenever you take a regular path and you put text on it, and then you turn that into a path text element, the stroke attribute that was on it before, which is a regular black 1-point black stroke, now the stroke is set to none. I could, by the way, just click on that path now and manually add a stroke to it again if I wanted to, but I'm just letting you know that's what happens when you automatically put that particular setting on it. So I have this element here. If I take my click on my text over here, I see there's a couple of elements here. Let's explore them. So first of all, I see a vertical line here. I see one over here, and I see one here as well. And then I also see the boxes that appear here. Remember those boxes? We saw them in area text. Well, here's a little pointer to understand exactly what's happening when you create text on a path inside of Illustrator. We discussed before that when you have just regular point text, there's nothing that contains or holds that text. It's simply a regular anchor point that has text, think of it like attached to it. And then as you continue to type, that text string just keeps running and running and running until you press enter. There's nothing that constrains or holds that particular content. However, when you create area text, you have a shape which contains that particular text inside of it, and the text reflows inside of that shape. Well, this vertical line over here, and this one that's also here, represent the start and end points of where the text on a path goes. In reality, path text is really close to what area text is. Even though my path begins here and ends here, depending on where my start and end points are basically the frame that holds that particular text. So just to show you, by the way, if I were to take, let's say, my cursor and just click on this endpoint and drag it so that it's around over here, I'm telling Illustrator that I only want text to appear on the path and start it over here at the start point and end it over here. Even though my path itself is longer and can contain all the text, I am basically allowing the text to only live within a certain area on that particular text path. So again, it's just closer to the way that the area text object kind of works. So I'll go ahead and I'll just expand this way here. Let's say I want my text to end here, and maybe I want it to start, say, back over here. Now, right now, my text is actually aligned left. But if I were to go to my paragraph setting and align it to the center, it would now be centered not on the path, but between the start point and the end point. And if I do align right, it basically aligns to the right of where that point is. So again, something to pay attention to when you think about how you align your text there. Now, if you look over here, there's one more line here, and it's got like a little inverted T icon. When you click on that, that allows you to actually move the entire text element, including where the start and the end points are. When I click on this over here, the start point and the end point are moving. I'm moving all the text along that particular path. Now, right now, my text is on the top of the path, but watch what happens when I move my cursor and I drag that icon down to the other side of the path. See, now my text flips to the other side of the path. And again, I can move it along this way. So here's how I control my text on a path The reason why I'm showing this to you right now is this is the way that Illustrator works with type on a path on open paths. But when we start dealing with closed paths, like, for example, ovals or rectangles, there's a few other things we need to watch out for. So now that we have this in place, let's take a look at what text on paths look like when dealing with closed paths.